What if I told you the ancient Stoics discovered 7 ruthless mental laws that can instantly obliterate the negative thoughts destroying your potential? These aren't feel-good platitudes or modern self-help tricks. These are battle-tested principles that transform slaves into sages, prisoners into philosophers, and commoners into emperors who ruled the world. Right now, most people are prisoners of their own minds, drowning in an endless ocean of negativity, self-doubt, and mental chaos. They react to every external event like leaves blown by a hurricane, completely at the mercy of circumstances they can't control. They wake up each morning already defeated by thoughts they didn't choose, carrying mental burdens that crush their spirit before the day even begins. But the ancient Stoics understood something revolutionary that modern psychology is just beginning to grasp. Your thoughts are the only thing you truly control, and mastering them makes you absolutely unstoppable. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the ancient world, wrote his private thoughts in what we now call meditations. These weren't public speeches designed to impress crowds or philosophical treatises meant for scholars. These were the raw, unfiltered mental exercises of a man who commanded legions, but understood that the real battle was fought in the mind. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This emperor, who could have conquered nations with his armies, chose instead to conquer his own thoughts, because he knew that was where true power resided. Today I'm going to reveal these 7 ruthless laws that will completely rewire how your brain processes reality. But I must warn you, once you understand and apply these principles, your entire relationship with negative thinking will be destroyed forever. You'll never again be helpless against the mental storms that devastate most people. You'll become someone who operates from unshakable inner strength, no matter what chaos erupts around you. The first ruthless law will shatter everything you believe about your negative thoughts. Negative thoughts are not facts, they are habits. Every single negative thought pattern racing through your mind right now, every self-defeating belief, every moment of doubt and fear, has been reinforced through repetition until it feels as automatic as breathing. Your brain has literally carved neural highways for negativity through years of practice. But here's what changes everything, what most people never realize. If negative thinking is just a habit, then positive thinking can become a habit too. The Stoics understood that the mind is like a muscle that grows stronger through deliberate exercise. Marcus Aurelius didn't wake up naturally optimistic and mentally strong. He practiced daily mental exercises, writing reminders to himself, challenging his automatic thoughts, and deliberately reshaping his mental patterns. Epictetus, who knew real suffering as a slave, taught his students to catch negative thoughts the moment they arise and immediately question them. Is this thought helping me or harming me? Is this thought based on what I can control or what I cannot control? Am I thinking like a philosopher or like a victim? This isn't positive thinking nonsense. This is mental warfare against the habits that keep you weak. Every morning when you wake up, your mind will try to run the same negative programs it ran yesterday. It will tell you that you're not good enough, that things won't work out, that you should worry about things beyond your control. But now you know the truth. These are just habits, not reality. And habits can be broken and replaced. The second law will shock you to your core. You are not your thoughts. This single realization has the power to instantly free you from mental prison. Right now, most people are completely identified with every thought that pops into their head. When a fearful thought arises, they become afraid. When an angry thought appears, they become angry. When a depressive thought surfaces, they become depressed. They live in a constant state of mental reactivity, bouncing from one emotional state to another based on whatever random thought their brain produces. Epictetus, who transformed from slave to one of history's greatest philosophers, taught something revolutionary. You are not the thinker of your thoughts, you are the observer of them. You are the consciousness that witnesses thoughts arising and passing away like clouds in the sky. When you realize this, negative thoughts lose their power over you instantly. The next time a negative thought enters your mind, instead of identifying with it and saying, "I am worried," observe it and say, "I notice a worried thought." Instead of, "I am depressed," observe, "I notice depressive thinking." This simple shift in language reflects a profound shift in perspective that breaks the spell of negative thinking immediately. Marcus Aurelius practiced this constantly, writing in his private journal, "Remember that very little disturbs the wise man. It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." He understood that between the arising of a thought and your reaction to it lies a space, and in that space lies your freedom. If you're ready to master your mind like these ancient philosophers and gain access to wisdom that most people will never discover, hit that subscribe button right now. Don't wait until the end of this video. Do it now, because what I'm about to share next will completely transform how you handle every challenge that comes your way. The third law is brutal but liberating. Your opinion about events matters infinitely more than the events themselves. This law destroys the victim mentality that keeps most people trapped in cycles of negativity and blame. The Stoics discovered that between every external stimulus and your emotional response lies the most powerful force in the universe: your power to choose your interpretation. A traffic jam can ruin your entire day and send you into a rage, or it can become a peaceful opportunity for reflection and mental training. A rejection can devastate your self-worth and confirm your worst fears about yourself, or it can strengthen your resilience and redirect you towards something better. A financial setback can fill you with panic and despair, or it can become the catalyst that forces you to develop new skills and discover opportunities you never would have pursued otherwise. The event itself is completely neutral. It has no inherent meaning, no built-in emotional charge, no automatic power over your mental state. Your interpretation of the event determines your entire experience of reality. Seneca, one of the wealthiest and most powerful men in Rome, understood this so deeply that he regularly practiced losing everything he owned in his mind, not to become pessimistic, but to realize that his happiness came from his thoughts about his circumstances, not the circumstances themselves. This law doesn't mean you should be passive or accept injustice. It means you should respond to challenges from a position of mental strength rather than emotional reactivity. When you control your interpretation, you control your experience. When you control your experience, you control your life. The fourth law demands courage and will separate you from the masses who crumble at the first sign of difficulty. Embrace obstacles as training for your mind. Most people spend their entire lives trying to avoid problems, challenges, and discomfort. They see obstacles as evidence that life is unfair, that they're unlucky, that success isn't meant for them. But Marcus Aurelius wrote something that will revolutionize how you see every difficulty. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Every obstacle you encounter is your mind's gymnasium. Every rejection is building your resilience muscle. Every failure is strengthening your problem-solving abilities. Every setback is teaching you lessons that success never could. The Stoics didn't pray for easy lives. They prayed for the strength to handle difficult lives with grace and wisdom. Think about the strongest people you know. Did they become strong by avoiding challenges, or by facing them repeatedly until they developed unshakable mental fortitude? Did they become wise by having everything handed to them, or by learning hard lessons through experience? Did they become confident by never failing, or by failing so many times that failure lost its power to intimidate them? Negative thinkers see problems everywhere and feel overwhelmed by life's challenges. Stoic minds see training opportunities everywhere and feel energized by the chance to grow stronger. They understand that a smooth sea never made a skilled sailor, and an easy life never made a powerful person. When your next obstacle appears, and it will, don't ask, "Why me?" Ask, "What can this teach me?" Don't think, "This shouldn't be happening." Think, "This is exactly what I need to become who I'm meant to be." This shift in perspective transforms every challenge from a burden into a gift. The fifth law requires discipline, but will flood your life with gratitude and appreciation. Practice negative visualization to treasure what you have. This might sound counterintuitive after everything we've discussed about destroying negative thinking, but this practice is different. This isn't dwelling on worst-case scenarios or catastrophizing about the future. This is a deliberate mental exercise that the Stoics used to cultivate gratitude and build psychological immunity to loss. The Stoics regularly imagined losing everything they valued: their health, their wealth, their relationships, their abilities, even their lives. Not because they were pessimistic, but because they understood human nature. We adapt to our circumstances incredibly quickly. What once brought us joy becomes routine. What once felt like a blessing becomes an expectation. We take for granted the very things that, if lost, would devastate us. Marcus Aurelius would imagine waking up and his wife being gone. Not because he wanted this to happen, but because it made him appreciate her presence when she was there. Seneca would imagine losing his fortune, not because he was preparing for failure, but because it made him grateful for his wealth while he had it and emotionally prepared if circumstances changed. This practice serves two powerful purposes. First, it fills your present moment with gratitude for what you currently have. When you imagine losing your health, you stop taking your body for granted. When you imagine losing your relationships, you start treating people with more appreciation. When you imagine losing your freedoms, you stop complaining about minor inconveniences. Second, it builds what psychologists now call psychological resilience. When you've mentally rehearsed loss, you're less likely to be completely devastated if loss actually occurs. You've already processed some of the emotional impact and developed coping strategies. This doesn't make you cold or detached. It makes you grateful in good times and strong in difficult times. The sixth law is revolutionary and will eliminate 90% of your mental suffering. Focus only on what you control and ignore everything else. Epictetus taught the most important distinction in all of philosophy. Some things are up to us, and some things are not. This isn't just intellectual knowledge. This is a practical tool that will transform how you spend your mental energy every single day. What's up to you? Your thoughts, your judgments, your desires, your decisions, your actions, your responses, and your character. What's not up to you? Everything else. Other people's opinions, other people's decisions, other people's emotions, the weather, traffic, the economy, politics, the past, the future, outcomes, results, and consequences. Most people spend most of their mental energy worrying about, complaining about, and trying to control things that are not up to them. They exhaust themselves trying to change other people's minds, predict future outcomes, fix past mistakes, and control external circumstances. This is like trying to steer a car by yelling at the road instead of turning the steering wheel. The Stoic approach is radically different. You pour all your energy into the things you can actually influence: your preparation, your effort, your attitude, your responses, your character development, and your daily actions. You let go of attachment to outcomes and focus completely on your inputs. You stop trying to control other people and start controlling yourself with ruthless discipline. This doesn't make you passive or uncaring. It makes you incredibly effective because you're focusing your energy where it can actually make a difference. You become someone who influences others through the power of your example rather than the force of your arguments. You become someone who creates favorable outcomes through excellent preparation rather than anxious worrying. The seventh and most ruthless law will put everything in perspective and eliminate trivial negativity forever. Memento Mori, remember, you must die. The Stoics regularly contemplated mortality not to become morbid or depressed, but to put everything in its proper perspective and eliminate the mental clutter that prevents most people from living with purpose and intensity. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It is not death that a man should fear, but never beginning to live." When you truly internalize the reality of your mortality, something profound happens. The petty annoyances that usually trigger negative thinking lose their power over you. The minor social dramas that consume most people's attention become obviously unimportant. The fears that keep most people playing small become opportunities to live boldly before time runs out. Death is the ultimate equalizer and the ultimate teacher. It doesn't matter how rich you are, how famous you are, how powerful you are, or how many followers you have on social media. Death comes for everyone, and it usually comes sooner than expected. This isn't meant to frighten you. It's meant to liberate you from wasting precious mental energy on things that won't matter when you're gone. When you remember that your time is limited, you stop arguing with people who don't deserve your energy. You stop worrying about what others think of your choices. You stop procrastinating on your dreams and goals. You stop taking your relationships for granted. You stop complaining about minor inconveniences and start appreciating major blessings. The contemplation of death makes every day a gift, every relationship precious, every opportunity valuable, and every moment of health, freedom, and consciousness something to be treasured rather than taken for granted. It transforms you from someone who merely exists into someone who truly lives. These 7 ruthless laws work together like an ancient operating system for your mind. systematically destroying the neural pathways that create negative thinking while building new pathways of strength, resilience, and wisdom. But understanding these principles intellectually is not enough. Knowledge without action is worthless. The Stoics were philosophers of practice, not theory. They didn't just think about these ideas, they lived them daily until they became second nature. Your transformation begins the moment you decide that your current mental patterns are completely unacceptable. The Stoics didn't wait for motivation, perfect conditions, or external permission to change their lives. They acted despite fear, doubt, uncertainty, and opposition because they understood something that most people never grasp. Action creates momentum, momentum creates confidence, and confidence creates the unstoppable force of a transformed life. Start with just one law today. Choose the one that resonates most powerfully with you and practice it relentlessly for the next 7 days. Notice how your mental landscape begins to shift from chaos to calm, from weakness to strength, from reaction to response, from victim to victor. Your mind is either your greatest asset or your most dangerous enemy. The Stoics chose to make it their greatest asset, and so can you. The power to rewire your brain and destroy negative thinking forever isn't in some future version of yourself or in some external circumstance. It's within you right now, waiting for you to have the courage to use it. Subscribe to this channel if you're ready to master your mind like the ancient Stoics and gain access to the mental tools that most people will never discover. Your journey from mental chaos to inner strength starts now. The only question is, are you ready to begin?